Good afternoon. Welcome to Midcap Radar. I'm Reema Tendulkar. With me is Sonal Bhutra, and these are the top stories that we're tracking at 1:30 p.m. this Friday. Indices off session highs after solid gains in early trade. The mid-caps outperform.
Rail industry slumps after its subsidiary shuts its unit in Europe following the energy crisis. The company is also developing contingency plans as it anticipates potential gas shortage in winter months in Europe.
PNC Infra gets a fillip on a concession agreement for a national highway project worth nearly 1,400 crore rupees in Uttar Pradesh.
Multiplex stocks take a beating on poor collections of big-ticket Bollywood release Brahmastra on the first day. Analysts do not expect a turnaround in box office numbers anytime soon.
Well, let's just do a quick check on the markets. We have slipped from the top of the trading session. At one point of time, the markets were up close to about 1.5%. So from the day's high, we have seen a fall, and the fall has been steady over the last 2 hours. That said, we're still holding up with gains of close to about 1% on the benchmark indices. For the entire week, we are likely to go home with gains of 1.5% on the Nifty and the Sensex, while the mid-caps are up close to about 1.8%. For the day, the mid-cap index is a bit of an underperformer. The mid-cap index is a gain of just about 0.4%, and the advanced decline ratio is in favor of the losing side. But we've got a management waiting by.
Oh, yes, we do. So we will now be joined by Dr. B.S. Ajaikumar, who's the Chairman and CEO of Healthcare Global Enterprises, to discuss the business outlook and what's happening in the sector as a whole. Sir, Dr. Ajaikumar, thanks a lot for joining us and speaking with us today. Well, Q1 was really strong for the sector, for your company as well. Can you give us a sense of what the occupancy levels are right now in Q2 so far, and how much of the international medical tourism has come back?
Regarding the occupancy, we are doing extremely well. We are up to the mid-60s now. And again, when you look at oncology, which is a lot of it is outpatient, we also measure footfall, and that has also increased. In fact, we are better than the pre-COVID level. The things are definitely moving in the right direction for us. Regarding the international, we are considered a destination. So our international footfall has significantly increased post-COVID era. And we are seeing a significant footfall from parts of Africa, Middle East, and we will continue to see this increase as we go forward.
If you can give us the number, how much, you said mid-60s, 64.6% was the occupancy in Q1. Has that continued? Is that stable? Yeah. And if you say international tourism has picked up versus pre-COVID levels, is it higher? Is it stable?
It is actually higher than the pre-COVID level. And, for example, in our Bangalore, it used to be 15-16% of our revenue. Now it is climbing close to 20% of our revenue, which is significant growth in Bangalore. And we also see the footfall increasing in our center in Mumbai as well as in Kolkata. And Ahmedabad also is picking up for international.
What are the numbers for Ahmedabad?
No, Ahmedabad is still significant. It's not that high. It is only like about 2-3%.
Okay.
But from very low level, we are increasing, and we are putting a lot of efforts to increase even in Ahmedabad, particularly coming from regions like East Africa. We are seeing a significant increase in the footfall.
Okay. So just one more question on occupancy before we move on. Q1 occupancies were also at 65%, 64.8%. The current in July, August, or the current month, you're also saying that occupancies are at similar levels. But your aspiration is that occupancies will hit 80%. Can you walk us through the glide path of how occupancies will hit that 80%? What is it that you anticipate and when?
Yeah. See, one of the things we look in oncology is as the occupancy rate increases, the footfall has to increase significantly. Our new patient registrations overall has increased. For example, throughout India, what we were at 100,000, we are reaching 125,000 new patients in oncology. And also recurrent patients are about 35 to 40% increase. So with this kind of increase happening, and when we look at what was our occupancy last year, even pre-COVID era, we were around 48-49%. From 48-49%, we have gone to 65%. So we believe this trend will continue forward. And with this, and also our new centers becoming mature centers, naturally the occupancy is going to increase. With these factors coming in, we expect the occupancy move towards more like 70%. It may take us a couple of years to move to 75, 80, but one of the things we have to be always cautious in occupancy is more and more patients are moving towards outpatient and ALOS is becoming less and less. Keeping that in mind, our focus, we believe, should be more on the footfall in the outpatient.
Yeah, so that is about occupancies and footfalls as well. But in terms of average revenue per bed, you saw an increase of 6% in the quarter gone by to 38,454. Just explain to us what is the difference between the average revenue per bed in Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities, and is this something that can increase this particular number in, say, coming quarters?
Yeah, particularly in our center of excellence and our focus groups, the hub centers like in Bangalore, Mumbai, and Ahmedabad, Kolkata, definitely the RPOP is going to increase. Whereas always it has been a trend where the secondary cities like in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, which will follow over a period of time. But there is definitely a lag. But our average in the big cities are going to increase because of the high technology and the mix we are going to see there. For example, new technology we bring, obviously the cost is going to increase. This is why we are seeing the difference. But we are also putting high technology in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, and our recovery has been fairly good. So we see this also increasing in Tier 2 compared to 2 years ago and 3 years ago. So general trend has been improvement in it.
What is the number? If you can tell us what is the average revenue in Tier 2 cities and Tier 1? Yes, you're expecting the Tier 1 part to increase, but generally if you can give us a sense?
I think, RPOP has been around 30,000. And, in the main cities, it is over 60,000. So I think this is going to definitely keep increasing, particularly, in my view, the big cities, we are going to see more RPOP. And because in the Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, we also do, the scheme patients coming in through that. Because of that, naturally, the RPOP may not increase significantly.
Okay.
So,
And one of the things we are also seeing now is the post-COVID, the private insurance is increasing. If the private insurance now penetrates and cash paying become less, that also is going to contribute to better RPOP as we move forward, particularly in Tier 2 cities.
So taking all this into account, the expected improvement in the metro cities, average revenue per occupied bed, the use of technology, the mix that you have between Tier 1 as well as Tier 2, private insurance kicking in, schemes, etc. that you offer. Your RPOP last quarter was about 38,500. What can that number increase to?
When you look at the mix, in my view, that number normally, we look at it years down the road. But looking at the previous trend and now, it can certainly increase to 45 to 50,000 in the next quarter. And we hope the way we are positioned.
Next quarter?
No, next fiscal year.
So FY24, our POP can be 45 to 50,000?
Around 45 it can increase.
Okay.
That's a sharp increase,
because what is happening is our new centers are becoming mature.
Correct.
Now, naturally, we expect them to deliver better RPOP, overall combined RPOP.
Okay. Sir, can you give us a sense of your fertility segment, that is Milan? Are you expecting any further increase? It's just 5 to 6% of your overall revenues. Can you scale it up? Any divestment plans here? What is the outlook?
Initially, we were thinking of diversing and we had made some announcement, but now we're looking at, really looking at a focused approach on that. We have put together a strong team and we are developing it in a bigger way. So we do believe there is a definite focused factory approach needed for Milan. Infertility is a growing business. So with the focus we are doing, we next 2 years, we see significant upside. I obviously, at this point, I'm unable to give any numbers, but a lot of effort have been put now to increase the overall footfall, overall what we call as the fertility cycles. That is showing a good trend in the last 2 quarters. So we hope this will continue to improve. Of course, there are, as we know from COVID period, we kind of took a backseat because nobody came for fertility in the COVID time because of the shutdown, but things are definitely improving.
Dr. Ajaikumar, this has been a great conversation. Thank you very much. for joining in. That's Healthcare Global for you, talking about how occupancies are likely to trend, the average revenue per occupied bed, their plans with respect to their fertility business as well. Get into a break on that note. On the other side, we'll get you some analysis on the rising gas prices in Europe and its implication on the Indian and global economy. Sonal Bhutra will fill us in with more.